Okay, so now we're going to go to something that happened in the news early in the week or maybe 2 weeks ago. Give me about the NFL player. Michael Bennett, I believe his name is. Michael, yeah, that's him. Read that for me, Captain Isaac.
NFL player Michael Bennett says police threatened to blow my effing head off.
So now can we play the video?
Okay, any moment I could have made the wrong decision and whether move, it felt like I was resisting or doing something wrong, and you guys would be wearing, the Seahawks would be wearing the patch with number 72 on it. The whole time through the whole situation, all I could think about was my wife and my kids. I'm just lucky to be here right now and to be able to continuously fight for people, fight for the equality of all people, regardless of their color, regardless of their gender, regardless of all that.
He messed me up with that last statement right there. But my point for showing that is that Esau don't care about how much fame you have or how much wealth and or riches you may have. They just see a nigger. And I know some of y'all get offended at that word, but just cover the ears of your children. You'll be all right. That's all they see. They don't care. He's yelling out who he is. They didn't care about that. The same thing happened to Oprah Winfrey when she went shopping in France. The same thing, believe it or not, happened to Blair Underwood during the attack of Rodney King, the beating of Rodney King. They beat the hell out of him, threw him against a car. And he's screaming, I'm Blair Underwood, I'm an actor, I'm famous. They were like, we don't care who you think you are. All right? So never let fame or fortune go to your head to make you think you can rise above the status of your people. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot. You cannot.
In an interview years ago, they asked OJ about what the people going through. He said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. You know, Jay-Z did a song making fun of it today, making fun of that statement that OJ said. You know?
Go ahead, Tori. I got to show you a picture since you mentioned OJ.
Yeah, so years ago they did an interview with OJ, right? And concerning the problems amongst our people and so forth, OJ said, listen, I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Well, I'm not
you
black.
know?
I'm OJ.
But what ended up happening, as you see the hell that OJ went through these last couple of years, you know, you also the hell he been catching. Esau took away everything from that dude because OJ think that he rise above his people, you know, because the way old Esau was dealing with him and all that money he had, it got to his head, so he was thinking that he above his people.
Y'all see that? Do y'all see that? That's original OJ that we know. Moral of the story, stay home. If he had stayed with the black woman, he would not be in no trouble today. But what happened when he got money and fame? He left the sister and went and married Miss Laura, Miss Ann. That's what he did. And look what all the hell he caught.
You just got to meditate on that thing.
Yeah, you remember the black man where Obama have to talk to the police for him? You know all that, what was his name?
Henry Louis Gates.
You know all that cops has to do just check with the neighbor? Why bring him all the way down to the police station, take picture? You see you see that folly behind it?
Give me Psalms 44. Let's read verse 12 through 15.
Psalms 44, verse 12 through 15.
Start at 11.
Verse 11. Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen.
The word scattered there, you will hear the modern term, the diaspora. And the diaspora is referring to our people, the scattering of the 12 tribes of Israel. Read.
Thou sellest thy people for naught,
When we went into slavery, God didn't get any profit for selling us. Go ahead.
and dost not increase thy wealth by their price.
Right. God didn't get any riches for allowing us to be sold into slavery. That's what David is saying.
Thou makest us a reproach to our neighbors,
We have become a reproach to our neighbors. Go ahead.
a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us.
Nobody likes. I know we like to think that people love us. When I say people, I'm talking about other nations. Like we did the radio show. Remember we were on in Amsterdam. Remember Radio de Leon? Remember that? Yes. And the brother who was hosting, he heard us in the street, and he asked us to come on the radio show. And he was making a point that said, because all his constituents was Esau. It was only him and another, it was 3 black people in the whole radio thing. And he said that they try to make him feel separate or special or above his people. But he says he's not stupid. He says he knows what they're doing. Okay? And all of our people got to think like that. Because Esau you're not like them. You're special. You're not like a regular Negro. No, we are regular Negroes. We're all the same. Okay? They use you just how we got to use them. Our mindset got to be like that. They want to try to separate you from the people to make not even your living be separate. Your way of thinking is different. That way there's no connection between us. Right? It's the old divide and conquer. Read on.
Verse 14. Thou makest us a byword among the heathen.
Thou makest us a byword among the heathen, meaning our surnames have been changed and our national identities have all been changed. Go ahead.
A shaking of the head among the people.
You know when you get on the elevator, brothers, and a white woman looking, that's how they look. Or they grab that purse. Oh, here he comes. But I'm famous. You don't know who I am? No, we don't care who you are. What verse was that?
That was verse 14.
Go ahead.
My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me.
Now, when it says my confusion is continually before me, I'm going to bring it for back then and I'm going to bring it up to now. Spiritually, in essence, it's referring to us being God's chosen people. And how have we fallen so far? But in the world standard, I'll use it this way. My confusion is continually before me. Because we're taught in society, get an education, become famous, get riches, and you are accepted. Michael Bennett found out he's not accepted. Okay? And many other black entertainers find out the hard way they're not accepted. So they're confused, but I'm American. I believe in the red, white, and the blue. I bleed like you bleed. My kids I'm going to go to the same schools as you. Why am I not accepted? You're not accepted. All on the news this week. Remember the storm in Houston? Harvey? Whatever. God, how about that? And black people did video after video. The white people are passing us by. They're not picking us up. They're confused. They didn't get them boats to pick up Negroes. They got them boats to pick up their own people. You want to get picked up in a boat, Negro? Guess what you got to do? Buy a boat. It's not hard. It ain't hard. Read that again, that verse.
Verse 15. My confusion is continually before me, and the shame of my face hath covered me.
Y'all see that? Go ahead.
For the voice of him that reproacheth and blasphemeth.
That's the so-called white man.
By reason of the enemy and avenger.
Exactly. That is the so-called white man. Give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 65 and 66. Deuteronomy 28, verse 65 and 66.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find.
Start at verse 64. I will start there.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
Once again, that's the diaspora. That is the modern term you'll hear being used today. But the reference is the scattering of the 12 tribes of Israel. Read it again.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
The two worlds largest religions is Christianity and Islam. That's what it's making reference to about wood and stone primarily, first and foremost. Those are the world's two largest religions, Islam and Christianity. Read on.
Verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Regardless of your fame, your fortune, your wealth. Go ahead.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
When you examine during the time of segregation, okay, right after the Jim Crow, well, blended right in, all of our people were not dirt broke. Some of our people became very wealthy. And the whites ran us off our property, our land, and took our lands that we had worked so hard and diligently for. Read that again.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease.
Right after the emancipation, they created the Ku Klux Klan, okay? And they would come and do raids against our people at night. Read.
Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind.
Now, when we read this, we like to keep it back there. We like to keep it back there. But I'm going to show you it's not for back there only. The curses will be upon us for how long, brothers? Forever. Read on.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life.
Give me the next article about Libya. I'm going to show you how these curses don't, because a lot of times we break scripture down, we keep it back there. You got it teaching, you brothers that teach, stop keeping the scriptures back there. Captain Isaac, read that.
Muslims worldwide. Libya, after dictator Gaddafi, Muslims sell blacks for $200 at open slave markets.
Can you read the date?
April 11th, 2017.
See, we don't realize I always tell y'all, we live in a bubble of censorship. We don't know what's happening outside of America. Most of us are clueless. This is why it hinders our teaching. This is why it benefits when we travel and read. They are selling black people for $200 on the open slave market. Read.
But Islam is supposed to be so equal and good towards blacks. Or so we are told, and they convert in droves. All things evil is supposed to be the white man. Isn't that the fashion nowadays?
Go down. Now, here's the actual article. Read.
Migrants are being sold at open slave markets in Libya. Vulnerable refugees from West Africa often arrive in the country with no money and no papers. Migrants from West Africa.
I want y'all to see updated April 11th, 2017. So this is not 100 years ago. Get your minds, reset your thinking. This is this year. Go ahead.
Migrants from West Africa are being openly traded in public slave markets across Libya.
So you know why we have a disconnect with our people on the other side of the world? I want y'all to think about the movie 12 Years a Slave. Remember the movie? How many of y'all saw that? The brother was, quote unquote, free. The brother was, quote unquote, educated. The brother had skill. He had talent. And what happened when he went out for a drink with white folks? They snatched him up. He woke up in chains. So when we were traveling, we would think, how easy would it be for something to happen to us traveling and we wake up over there? And y'all be like, what happened to the bishop, the deacons, and the captains? And y'all would never see us again. We'd be in Libya in chains. Because you think it can't happen. Don't think it can't happen. Read on.
As a departure point for refugees trying to get to Europe, migrants arriving in Libya from sub-Saharan Africa are particularly vulnerable due to a lack of money and little in the way of documentation.
So now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. I want you to read the scripture for me. Because you, like some of our BHI brethren, and when I say BHI, y'all know what it means, Black Hebrew Israelites, our mindset thinks that the only Israelites are in America. Mainly Harlem and Philadelphia. Those are the only Israelites. If you ain't out of there, then you're not an Israelite. That's the dumb black Hebrew Israelite thinking. Read Zephaniah 3. Let's read 10 to 13, I think. I'm going to show y'all something.
Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 10. From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my suppliants.
When you examine the rivers of Ethiopia, they extend down towards the Nile. They go towards Uganda. They go towards the Congo as well. Go ahead.
Even the daughter of my dispersed.
Y'all see that word dispersed? That's the same word as scattered. It's the same word as diaspora, the scattering of the 12 tribes of Israel. God is telling you where they are. Read.
Shall bring mine offering. In that day shalt thou not be ashamed for all thy doings, wherein thou hast transgressed against me. For then I will take away out of the midst of thee them that rejoice in thy pride, and thou shalt no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. I will also leave in the midst of thee an afflicted and poor people.
Now, we just read that they have no money and have nothing to little documentation due to lack of resources. That's the same thing the Bible is saying right there. An afflicted and poor people. Read.
And they shall trust in the name of the Lord.
Read.
The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity.
It's telling you who they are. The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity. So when we read in Deuteronomy 20 about the Lord will scatter us among how many people? It means just that. It means exactly what it says. Okay? That was it, Captain Isaac?
The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
That's why we must go forth and teach our people. Don't worry about trying to figure out who's who. Christ said, my sheep, what? Our job is to teach. If they come, let them come, because their spirit bears witness, okay? Like when we were in, I think it was Amsterdam again. There's a brother from the Sudan.
Yes.
That was that Amsterdam?
That's Amsterdam.
Very, very, very dark. Very dark. Good-natured brother. Simon, that's his name. But what we read there, now I'm going to show you another one. When we were in the Yeshua ministry, there's a brother that I said, where are you from? He said, Egypt. Okay. Give me that Isaiah 11:11. Now, the first thought might be, oh, no, those ain't our people. Hey, let God be true, every man a liar. Christ said, let the wheat and the tares what? He said at the end, the angels shall what? Separate them. That's his job, not ours. Read that.
Isaiah 11:11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt.
Y'all see Egypt? So there's a remnant of our people in Egypt. And the ones in Egypt, though they are on the bottom of society, they're afflicted and poor, okay? That's what it's saying. That's who they are. Read.
And from Pathros.
Uh-huh.
And from
That's
Cush.
still Egypt. Go ahead. And from Cush, that's Ethiopia.
And from Elam.
Elam, that's Persia.
And from Shinar.
Shinar, that's Babylon, Iraq.
And from Hamath.
And from Hamath, what was that? Hamath. I always forget that one. Syria, thank you. Thank you. Go ahead.
And from the islands of the sea.
Our job, brothers, is just to teach. Just teach the word and let them come. Now, from there, let's go to Lamentations 1, verse 3. So don't let a dumb BHI, Black Hebrew Israelites, say the only Israelites are in Harlem in Philadelphia. Notice the only Israelites where they can get to. If they can't get there, that means there's no Israelites there. That's their train of thought. You got to ignore them. Okay? And you know what's amazing? Even if you were dumb as a rock, know a little bit of it. Let's say you thought that all Israelites was taken out of Africa. Let's say your thought was like that. But when you research Liberia and Sierra Leone, where did those people, where were they brought from, brothers? Do y'all remember? America. America and the Caribbean and Canada. They were, after slavery, they was brought back over there. So you can't be that, brothers and, where's the T? Listen, I don't know. I'll point right here. You can't be that damn stupid. You can't be. Stop being dumb. These Black Hebrew Israelites. Get a clue. Where did I say go? Lamentations 1 and 3.
Lamentations 1 and 3. Judah is gone into captivity.
Judah is gone into captivity.
Because of affliction.
Because of affliction.
And because of great servitude.
And because of great servitude, slavery.
She dwelleth among the heathen.
Y'all see that? Judah dwelleth among the nations. The word heathen means nations. I'm going to say it again. The word heathen means nations. Go ahead.
She findeth no rest.
Judah finds no rest.
All her persecutors overtook her between the straits.
Was that it?
Yes, sir.
So that goes back to what we read. Go back to the article now. Go back to the article. Okay, read that again, Captain Isaac.
Migrants from West Africa are being openly traded in public slave markets across Libya.
And for you so-called good Christian whites out there, you Christians, you really make me sick. No, if you notice, not one church will speak about this. When we were in Brussels, was it Brussels? The minister, you got big, strong, burly men with tambourines playing. Mm-hmm. I was getting mad and mad. I'm sitting there watching these big, burly brothers singing and dancing with tambourines. Meanwhile, less than a mile away, you had that park. Remember that park? Where you got black people, refugees filled there. And the women, black women, selling their behind for prostitution. And you Negroes up here singing and dancing, talking about the love of white man Jesus. You've got to be insane. I said, y'all playing church. You got to stop this foolishness in here. Because you're waiting for Esau to stand up and do something. You're waiting for the World Council of Churches. They don't give a hoot about our people. You're waiting for America to do something. America ain't even mentioning it. And you're waiting for the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, International Court of Justice, is that what it's called? Yes, ICJ, International Court of Justice, also called the World Court. They're full of malarkey too. Read that.
Migrants from West Africa are being openly traded in public slave markets across Libya. As a departure point for refugees trying to get to Europe, migrants arriving in Libya from sub-Saharan Africa are particularly vulnerable due to a lack of money and little in the way of documentation. Survivors have told the International Organization for Migration, IOM, how there are slave markets and private prisons all over Libya.
Not just one place in Libya. It says all over Libya. Go ahead.
Mohammed Abdiker, IOM's head of operation and emergency, said the situation is dire. The more IOM engages inside Libya, the more we learn that it is a veil of tears for all too many migrants.
So when I read stuff like this, it really makes my blood boil. Let me tell you something. There's an expression that states, always remember this, none of us are free so long as one of us is in chains. Y'all understand that? Because the same thing that happens to a brother or sister can easily happen to us. We just tend to disconnect. Oh, that's them, that ain't me. Because we've been taught here to be individuals. I guarantee you, remember that little Chinese man got beat up on the plane? You know what plane line was it?
It was United Airlines.
You know why they quickly solved the problem? Because all of China was behind that one man. Mm-hmm. They said, if you do that to him, you do that to us. We'll pull all our resources from you. So they said, America said, we got to do something now. When you have a nation of people behind you, now you got power.
That's that unity.
That's the unity. Black and Latin, we have not learned that. That's why nobody gives two SHs about us. Put them in slavery. Who cares? They're individuals. They don't care about one another. That's the mindset they put us in. But the Bible changes our minds. Give me that scripture real quick in Isaiah 45 about they that afflicted us. I got to read that. This is the only thing that cheers me up. Yes, that one. 45 and 14.
Can I say something before you?
Yes, go ahead.
That's the reason why when I was talking earlier about unity, to us, unity is like an elective. We elect to have unity sometimes. But the nations, like what you just spoke about with China, they understand that unity is a must. They don't deal with an electoral type of unity. They all unify because it's a must. They see it as a must. Us, we choose to do it.
Read that.
Isaiah 45 and verse 14. Thus saith the Lord, the labor of Egypt and merchandise of Ethiopia and of the Sabians, men of stature, shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine. They shall come after thee. In chains they shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee. They shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely God is in thee, and there is none else. There is no God.
Give me Psalms 149. This ain't the one I wanted. I want the one in Psalms 149. How could I forget that? Yes.
Verse 1, Bishop.
Yeah, you can start at verse 1.
Psalms 149, verse 1. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him.
See that? It says, let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Who has our rejoicing been in? The white man. How do we rejoice? When we celebrate his holidays? His white supremacy holidays called Christmas, called Thanksgiving, called New Year's Eve. We have rejoiced in our oppressor. The Bible says what? Read that again.
Let Israel rejoice in him that made him.
That means we got to celebrate the Sabbath. That means we got to celebrate the Passover. That means we got to celebrate the new moons, the Feast of Tabernacles. That's how we praise the Lord. Go ahead.
Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king.
We got to be joyful in our king. Not in Trump, not in Obama, but in our king. Read.
Let them praise his name in the dance.
And we're going to do some real dancing. They ain't seen no dancing yet. You wait till we get to our kingdom. Go ahead.
Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp.
And this is when we're going to use the timbrel and harp. Not now. Ain't using no timbrel and harp. Ain't got nothing to sing about. Our people being sold for $200 in slavery. And you want to sing, Negroes? Are you insane? Read.
For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people.
Does it say the Lord takes pleasure in all races?
For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people.
Go ahead.
He will beautify the meek with salvation.
He will beautify the meek with salvation. The meek means the humble, okay? Those that submit themselves to the will of the Most High. Go ahead.
Let the saints be joyful in glory.
Come on.
Let them sing aloud upon their beds.
Here it comes.
Let the high praises of God be in their mouth.
The high praises of God in our mouth is the Bible. God's law is going to be in our mouth. Go ahead.
And a two-edged sword in their hand.
And we're going to have a killing instrument in our hand. Let's see if we're going to put butter on bread. Let's see what we're going to do with this sword.
To execute vengeance.
Y'all know what vengeance is? Vengeance is not used with your words. Vengeance is used with a sword, with a weapon. Go ahead.
To execute vengeance upon the heathen.
The word heathen means nations. Go ahead.
And punishments upon the people.
And we're going to put all the people in punishments. Let's see what kind. Go ahead.
To bind their kings with chains.
Oh, this is the vengeance we're going to execute. This one we're going to sing with the timbrel and harp. We're going to bind their kings with chains. Go ahead.
And their nobles.
And their nobles. Why? Because they're still doing it to us today. Now payback is y'all know the rest. Go ahead.
And their nobles with fetters of iron.
And their nobles. I'm going to talk about their nobles in a minute. Remember this name, King Willem Alexander. We're going to talk about that devil in a moment. Go ahead.
To execute upon them the judgment written.
See, we're not going to run crazy and do what we want to do. We're going to execute upon the nations the judgments that are written in the Bible. Go ahead.
This honor have all his saints.
And God says this is an honorable thing to do. This is nothing to be ashamed of. Payback is nothing to be ashamed of. Go ahead.
Praise ye the Lord.
Now you see what David says. Praise the Lord for that thing. We've been so destroyed in our minds. You read this and people want to say, no, that's evil. You're filled with hate. No, this is justice right here. Okay? Now, give me the next article on, it says migrants from West Africa. Not the one with Gaddafi. You can X out of this one.
Then you notice in Libya, everything was smooth with Gaddafi, right?
Right, with Gaddafi
And
was
America
a lot,
waged that thing, war on Libya, then they didn't do nothing to America. Now look where the people suffering. Then I think in Libya was the number 5th oil country in the world.
Oh.
And how the hell they become that little? Overnight?
Exactly. Omar Gaddafi wanted to stop using the euro and all European monies. He said Africa is the most richest continent on earth. He said, why don't we make what did he call it?
Union.
An African Union with the money. He said we can change the dollar and do all that. Next thing, all of a sudden on the news, Gaddafi was an evil dictator.
Yeah.
They went over there and put him to death on the news. You saw it on the news. And people in America were clapping, yeah, he's evil! You stupid people! Our people are dumb as hell. We believe anything we see on the Caucasian News Network, CNN, or CBS, the Caucasian Broadcasting System. He said, you know what, why do we need to work with them? Even the brother called Thomas Sankara, somebody, I think Phineas posted this video. Thomas Sankara was the president of, somebody help me out here. Burkina Faso, thank you. It was formerly called the Upper Vulgate. He said, we don't need foreign aid from America. We don't need foreign aid from Europe. He said, we have all the resources we need right here. So what did he do? He said, he divided the people up. He had certain people work with the government, some people work with farming, rice, some people work with electricity. Yeah. And he had all the people in his cabinet. He said, you don't need to take first class no more. He said, and you don't need the top ranking vehicles either. He said, you can have a regular car to get from here to there. Before you know it, they hired his best friend from childhood to assassinate him. They lit his body up with over 30 bullets. All of a sudden, foreign aid's back now. Because he said and explained, foreign aid is a national debt. He said it's like slavery. You can never come out from under it. America gives you $203 million for the year. You have to pay that back with interest.
Strings attached.
There's always strings attached. He said, we don't want that. And America said, if they're successful, all the other African nations will do the same damn thing. That's right. Kill him. And they killed. Just look, it's on YouTube. Thomas Sankara. He was the head of Burkina Faso. If I'm saying it wrong, you'll correct me. What is it? Burkina Faso. Okay.
Yeah, you know, Bishop, the world.
And no, he didn't have bones in his nose and a plate in his lip. He looked just like you. Go ahead.
Yeah. The world said America is just, right? Look at the countries that he been to. Look at what he done to these people. You say a bunch of women prostitute themselves, a bunch of men, and I mean, no harm, no nothing. If we are just people, then why every place we ever been is corruption? Every place we ever been is wickedness. You understand? Who's bringing this wickedness? America, throughout the earth. As long as it's not them, everything good. You know what I mean? Poverty is good for them. You understand? In our pride, they have to take much wealth. You understand? But now we back now, white men. We back now. We're trying to keep the law now.
Exactly. Give me the picture of Judicata. It's coins. Oh, we were going to read this. We'll read this in a minute. Give me the coins. Remind me to go back to this. No, I'm sorry. Forget it. Let's read here and let's go back. I want you to read this, Isaac. Remember the coins, all right? Read this.
Refugees sleeping without shelter in Brussels Park.
This is where we went. And we saw all men in there. We were like, Bishop Kenai said, where's the women? They said they're prostituting themselves in the red zone district. And there's two red zone districts. You got the white section and you got the black section. The white section for hypothetical. Let's say something costs $50. Y'all know, you men know what I'm talking about. The black section, it'll be like 25. It's like half. Read that. Hey, is there a video?
Yes, video.
Maybe we'll play the video. Let's play the video. Let's see.
This is the scene in Maximilian Park, just a few metro stops away from Brussels city centre. For approximately 500 refugees, it is home. Most of them were smuggled into the EU via Italy, having paid thousands to criminal gangs. They are mainly from Eritrea, Sudan and Ethiopia, and risk their lives getting to Europe with the aim of starting a new, better life. It hasn't gone well so far.
It's bad because they have no tent, they are sleeping outside. And when it's raining, they have no place, they have to go everywhere, they can't sleep. And on the ground, there is water.
The refugees are not applying for asylum with the Belgian authorities over fears they will be deported. It is a complex and difficult situation for both the refugees and the Belgian government. Police have arrested 30 people here within the past fortnight. Technically, these refugees are illegally in the country. No one would talk to us on camera, but one young man from Sudan spoke to us anonymously.
The situation is not good. Every day the government is beat us, is fire us from the guard, from the park, from the anywhere, you know. No, it's not good. The situation is not good.
At least 3 women sleeping in the park are pregnant. We were told they had been raped before leaving their home countries. Long queues form in the park as volunteers hand out water and fruit. The various rights groups helping out here say the Belgian government and the EU should be doing a lot more. During the hot days, the refugees hang up their clothes and sleeping bags to dry because on many evenings there are thunderstorms and they get drenched. Rights groups say this situation is yet another perfect example of the European Union's failed asylum policy. And they point out, of course, that this is the EU's de facto capital. Jerome Hughes, Press TV, Brussels.
Now, this is on the news. Going there, you see much more than what they just showed. Those people, on average, you remember this, Bishop, are in that park for an average 6 to 7 to 8 months, waiting for this for these courts to do something. That's number one. Number two, not only about the red zone districts and all of that, there's a bus depot not far from there. They sleep on the ground in there, seeking refuge, on the ground where the buses park at night, when the buses stop running. They sleep all on the ground underneath where the buses are. We walk past that. It is crazy. It's hard. And you remember the brother that we were going to interview?
Right.
You saw how they had his face hidden? We just made, you remember the brother with the camera? He was swinging it. He got so afraid. We didn't realize the fear on these people. That's why they showed it here. When he saw that camera turn, he disappeared.
Right.
He got
ducked
so
down
he
on
ducked,
the ground
he
and
like,
rolled.
No. I mean, he did it like he was going to fight us. No, no, no.
Exactly. Exactly. Give me Daniel 7:18. I like that song, Lauryn Hill. Man, I forgot the name of the song. The one that goes, if I rule the world, I'll free all my sons. I tell you, when we rule this world, brothers, we're going to free all our sons. Then and only then will there be peace on earth. It's only going to come through Christ and the 12 tribes of Israel. Understand that. It's not going to come no other way. Read that.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom.
That's what we're going to do. And we're going to need some power to do that thing. We're going to take the kingdom. We ain't going to ask for nothing. We ain't going to have to vote for nothing. We ain't going to ask Congress for nothing. Everything we want, God's going to say, take it. It's yours. Okay, jump down to verse 27.
Verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven,
Meaning the whole planet Earth,
shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High,
shall be given to the Israelites. Go ahead.
whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom.
And our kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. Go ahead.
And all dominions
And all dominions, all governments
shall serve and obey him.
shall serve and obey Christ. Go ahead.
Hitherto is the end of the matter.
Y'all know that part right there. Hitherto is the end of the matter. Means this is what the whole Bible is about. That's the entire plan of God. Daniel, the 7th chapter, gives you the whole plan of God. It starts off with the Israelites in captivity and ends with the Israelites ruling all nations. Hitherto is the end of the matter. That's what the whole Bible's about. You ain't going to add nothing to it. You can't take nothing from it. It is what it is, okay? From there, give me Psalms 44. No. Give me Deuteronomy 28:32. So we just read about our people being sold in Libya in open slave markets for $200. Read that.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fare with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
Meaning no might, meaning no political might, no economic might, no military might. We don't have no might to change nothing. Jump over to verse 46.
Verse 46. And they
Meaning the curses
shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
The sign is that we're the Israelites. See, we like to think slavery ended. It didn't end. It's still going on. We just live in a bubble here in America. A bubble called censorship. Don't show them that. Don't even talk about that. Okay? Give me the coin of Judah. This was a coin which was minted after 70 AD. Okay? On my left is Vespasian. Okay? Notice what the coin says. It says Judah Capta. It's in Latin. It says Judah On my left, that's what you see, the I-V-D-E-A, that's Judah. Then on the right, C-A-P-T-A, that's captive, which means captive. You see the white man standing up. Notice the palm tree looking sad, the tree. And look at the black woman with a baby in her arm, with a hand on her head, weeping. Okay? That's Judah captive. And you got the black woman, which represents Judah, being conquered. She's in captivity. Now, I want you to look at her real good, best as you can. She's sitting down. She got a little baby in her arms and one hand's on her head. Now, I want you to go to the next book. I gave you a book called History of Slavery. Keep that image right there in your head. Give me the history of slavery. Give me the cover first. Give me the cover first to show you where this is from. It says History of Slavery by Susan Everett. Okay, this book right here. Okay, the slaves. There's another one I got. It said an illustrated history of the, I can't see something. But anyway, the slaves, Susan Everett. Now I want to go inside this book. I got the book at home. Go to the picture where you got the black woman sitting down under a tree. I want y'all to see this. This is on page, look at the page number. What's that page? 142, top left. Notice, now this is talking about chattel slavery, but notice the image of the black woman with her hand up under the tree. This is the year in the 1600s. The coinage that we showed you was from what year? 70 AD. Letting you know, the scholars know we're the same people. The same people. It's the same image with the black woman crying under the tree. Can we zoom in on the words so I can see it? Negro woman who sitteth pining in captivity. Remember we just read Judah Kapta. It's the same image. And weepest over thy sick child. Though no one seeth thee, God seeth thee. Though no one pitieth thee, God pitieth thee. Raise thy voice, forlorn and abandoned one. Call upon him from amidst thy bonds, for assuredly he will hear thee.
This is mockery.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. They're mocking us. They're saying we're going to show you a history right in front of you, and we're going to laugh because you're not going to pick it up.
Exactly.
That coin plus this here, the equation should be solved. The problem should be solved. You should know after that.
Okay.
But they laugh at us.
Look at the coin again. Go back to the coin. Look at the coin right there. The black woman with a baby in her hands, right under the same tree too. It says Judah Kapta, Judah captivity. And other one, back to the etching now, it said Negro woman in captivity. It's the same thing as this. Same exact thing. Go back to the picture.
Bishop,
Yes.
the words that you read there for the coin is the exact same words in Leviticus 26:39. It said the woman was, what did it say? Pining away?
Yes.
That's Leviticus 26:39 says the exact same thing in the curse.
Exactly. I want to read the words. Okay. Right, y'all see it together. Y'all see the tree? Same tree. Got the black woman there with similar clothing, the drapes, okay, weeping with a hand on her head. It's the same thing. So these people are making mockery of our history, knowing that we will never put one and one together. Go back. Let me see the top of this. Go to the top. I want to read the words at the top, at the very top. I want to read the words at the very top. Okay, appeals to the heart. The British Abolition Committee was established in 1787 to work toward the ending of the slave trade. To aid the policy of achieving parliamentary legislation to ban the trade, the committee produced and distributed pamphlets, books, poems, and prints dramatizing the fate of the slaves. Some of the propaganda prints are reproduced here, along with the accompanying captions and verses. Okay, from there, give me Psalms 44 again. I want to start at verse 9. I tell you, when we rule the world, we are going to free all our sons and daughters. Okay? And we're going to give the nations an ultimatum. Hey, give me that. Give me that scripture in Isaiah. It says, they shall bring your sons and daughters in their arms, carrying them. Give me that one. You know what I want, Cap? 49:22, thank you. Like we told the minister, y'all like to play with the Bible. You don't want to really read. And you know how we know they don't read the Bible in church? When we were calling scriptures, you know the people had difficulty finding the scripture? Even the translator, who'd been there for years, had different. He's like, we don't read the Bible. All I do is translate for the minister who just talks. We don't really read this. So when we're going through scriptures, it's a shock to the system. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Where we going?
Isaiah 49, verse 22. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles, and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders.
Now, read it. What verse is that again?
22.
Now look at 22. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles and set up my standard to the people. Do you think it means that the Lord's going to come down? Now, this is after the major destruction. Do you think he's going to come back and go like this? Hey! No. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to have the 144,000. Y'all saw the movie 300? Remember when Persia sent an ambassador? They gave them an ultimatum. Y'all remember that? That's how nations do. They send ambassadors. You're going to either do A or B. You decide. So it's going to be the same way. The 144 is going to send, and that's what it means when it says, where verse, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up my hand to the Gentiles and set up my standard to the people. Now, they're going to be given an ultimatum about the children of God. And read what they're going to do.
Set up. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will lift up mine hand to the Gentiles and set up my standard to the people. And they shall bring thy sons in their arms.
Libya is going to bring our sons to us. You're going to release every Israelite there and bring them here or die. See, we play church so much, we don't know how the world operates. You got to really think about what's going to happen. Why do you think it says the feeble among us shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God? We're going to have power on this earth, and we're going to give them an ultimatum. Just do or die. Yes.
Real quick, Bishop. And our ambassadors are not getting kicked down no well either.
Exactly. They ain't kicking us nowhere. Read that.
And they shall bring thy sons in their arms, and thy daughters shall be carried upon their shoulders.
Y'all see that? That's how much honor and respect they're going to have, because they know death is at our doorsteps. We know we can't fight them Israelites. They got trouble dealing with us now one-on-one. That's why they got all these damn weapons. Give me that scripture about no weapon. Find me that in Isaiah. No weapon that is formed. 54:17. It's going to get to the point, it don't matter what they got. Oh, they got tanks? That's nice. Oh, they got a bomb? That's nice too. Well, we got God. In fact, we are God. That's what it's going to be. Oh, they got what? They got what? Read that.
Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper.
Did they just shoot a missile at us? Did they just shoot a missile at us? What's that supposed? We're going to be like this. We're going to slaughter them. I'm telling y'all. I got to read it. Give me Micah. I got to read it. Y'all don't believe me. You got to believe the Bible. If you don't believe me, at least believe the Bible. And you nation, we ain't going to have no mercy on you. You had your chance. Because we giving you the word now. Because I know you liberals, y'all watching right now. You better free our people, every last one of them. And because when that day come, didn't we give, what date is today? September 9th, 2017. We told you to free our people. And you didn't listen. Now we coming for you. Judgment is coming. I'm telling y'all. That's right. Get a Lord a hand for that thing. And brothers, that's how we got to be. That's how we got to be. Give them an ultimatum now, and it's recorded in the heavens. Now watch this. You got it, Micah 5, I believe. Micah 5, it might be verse 7 or 4. It says, and the sons of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people.
Micah chapter 5, verse 7.
Come on.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people.
Meaning many nations. Go ahead.
As a dew from the Lord.
Meaning we're going to cover every place. Go ahead.
As the showers upon the grass.
Go ahead.
that tarrieth not for man,
We ain't going to wait for man to tell us nothing. Go ahead.
nor waiteth for the sons of men.
We ain't going to wait for the sons of, well, let's wait for the Chinese to say what they got to say. We don't give a damn what the Chinese say. Now, remember Daniel 7:18 when it says the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. This is what it means. Watch.
And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest.
As a lion among the beasts of the forest. That's why they call him the king of the jungle. Go ahead.
As a young lion.
And not an old lion. Israel, we're going to be like a young lion. Go ahead.
Among the flocks of sheep.
What can sheep do to a lion, brothers? Nothing but be food. That's
right.
That's it.
Fill his stomach.
Exactly. That's how we're going to be amongst the nations with all their weaponry. Read that part again. As a young lion.
As a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who if he go through.
When we go through the nations.
Both treadeth down.
We're going to tread them down.
And teareth in pieces.
And we're going to tear them in pieces.
And none can deliver.
And nobody going to be able to save those nations. None. No weapons, nothing. That's why I ain't got time to be depressed. I read this Bible, I rejoice. I know what's going to happen. I just say, Lord, please resurrect. If I'm not here on that day, please resurrect me so I can be there to take part in the destruction of our enemies. That's what I always pray about. I want to be there, okay? I want them to pay for what they've done to our people, okay? That's how our mindset got to be, okay? Give me Leviticus 26. I'm sorry, Psalms 44, 9 to 11.
Psalms 44, verse 9.
I know some of y'all scared of some of you church boys up in here. It's all right. You little church boys, y'all going to be all right. And if you introverts, the Bible is meant to transform you introvert brothers to extroverts. Make you bold when you speak. Okay? Why? That's what faith does. When you believe this book, when you ain't got no faith, the Bible says, because you're not sure about what you're reading. But when you sure about what you're reading, you're going to stand boldly before your enemies and tell them, thus saith the Lord. Read that.
Psalms 44, verse 9. But thou hast cast off and put us to shame.
God cast us off and he put us to shame. Go ahead.
And goest not forth with our armies.
Now I wanted to get to that part right there and go not forth with our armies. During the time of Byzantium, during the time of the Dark Ages, when our time was up, and we fought against the white man and the Arabs, the Most High did not go with our armies. So they conquered us, and many of us fled to Africa. Some of us fled to the Americas. Okay, that's what happened. Read.
Thou makest us to turn back from the enemy. And they which hate us spoil for themselves.
And they which hate us robbed us. Go ahead.
Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat.
We were like sheep to them, appointed for meat. You see how it was flipped now? We were at one time like sheep to the nations. God said, I'm going to flip that thing. The nation's going to be like sheep to y'all. Go ahead.
And hast scattered us among the heathen.
That's the diaspora. Read.
Thou sellest thy people for naught.
We just going down to verse 11.
That was verse 11.
Okay.
Luke 18, verse 3. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying.
And she came unto God, saying, that's what it represents. Go ahead.
Avenge me of mine adversary.
Avenge me of my enemies. Go ahead.
And he would not for a while.
This unjust judge, which represents God, would not do it for a while. Go ahead.
But afterward he said within himself, though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me.
Yet because these Israelites trouble me,
I will avenge her.
I will avenge her.
Lest by her continual coming she worry me.
Lest by her continual praying she trouble me. Read.
And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith.
Now, in case you doubted what I said, the next verse, Christ explains it.
And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth?
Y'all see that bottom part? Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Who has faith on this earth to pray for vengeance against their enemies? You won't find no church doing that. We were in Brussels in the church, Yeshua Ministries, a few blocks away, the people being refugees all in the park, and they're banging on damn tambourines. And we're like, what the hell is wrong with y'all up here? Right, like they didn't know about it, and they walk by it every day. We are supposed to pray for vengeance against our adversaries. And not once a month. It says all the time. Who's speaking? The Son of God. But most of us don't believe it because we've been indoctrinated with false Christian thoughts. And when I say false Christian thoughts, I'm talking about white man religion. They say, no, never pray for that. The Son of God said, pray for that. Can we read it again? Verse 7.
Verse 7. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them?
Christ said, pray against your enemies. Ask God for vengeance, and he will do it. Just keep praying for it. But we don't believe there's no. We've been taught not to do that thing. The men are afraid. The women definitely afraid. Don't pray for that. Lord, give me a husband. That's all they pray for. What about the oppressor? What about the white man who's oppressing us? Can we get some vengeance, please? We need some vengeance. We need God to bring some more storms and kill them all.
Bishop, can we read 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6?
Yes,
To show
read
that
that.
it's according to the law.
Exactly. Read that. That's a good precept. Oh, no, that's wrong. You're not supposed to say that. We're saying what the Son of God commanded. See, some of you church boy, I know some of y'all from the church right away. You're looking at me over your glasses like, what the hell are you talking about? We ain't supposed to be saying stuff like that. This is a coat. Didn't I tell you it's a coat? You're looking over at his wife on the side. Read that.
2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
Okay? He says that it's righteous with God for us to wish that we get vengeance on the people that trouble us. Read on.
And to you who are troubled.
That's why we are. We feel in trouble. The people who are here now are here because we're upset with the way this world is. Read on.
And to you who are troubled, rest with us.
This is where you get rest in knowing that the Most High is going to get them. And that's what you should be coming here with that mindset. Not like the bishop said, the women, all they come in here is looking for men. And as soon as they get men, you don't hear nothing about them no more. You know how many sisters come in here on fire? You see them on class. As soon as they get a man, you don't hear nothing from them no more. Some of you brothers are the same way also. Okay? The people who are troubled, you're supposed to come here saying, I hate this world the way it is, and I want the Most High to judge it.
That's right. Exactly. Amen to that thing. So we told him, we told a brother, Papani, who's the radio host, he met us out there. We said, listen, go to that park of refugees and start handing out literature. Start teaching. Get the brothers with you. Go out I'd set up camp in the middle of that damn park and get some translators because they all got different languages there and let this gospel be heard, okay? Give me the next article, okay, about the Dutch trouble. Oh, give me Jeremiah 3:15. I'm sorry. And you find what I asked you to find.
Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
All the pastors today, we looking at the pastor in the church, he's not feeding them with knowledge and understanding. The knowledge and understanding with regard to today, a part of the knowledge, you're supposed to pray for vengeance from God against your enemies. It is a righteous thing to do that. No, you won't. T.D. Jakes ain't going to teach you that. Creflo ain't going to teach you that. Give me another one. Juanita Bynum ain't going to teach you that. Joel Osteen definitely ain't going to teach you that.
You can't even get in the church.
Exactly. So the pastors that God is rising up is going to teach you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us, God. Whether you like it or not, the Bible is like medicine. It might taste nasty at first, but it's healthy for you. It will ease your troubled mind. Okay? So read this, Captain Isaac.
Dutch trouble with ugly slavery past.
Because we were in Belgium, Brussels, Belgium, and Amsterdam. The Dutch rule that place. That's their flag. Go ahead.
Once upon a time in the 17th century, the Netherlands was the largest slaving nation in the world.
And believe it or not, most people don't realize that. When we talk about slavery, the first place we think of is what, brothers? America. Nobody mentions the Dutch at all. And guess what? Nobody mentions Saudi Arabia either. Why? Because they got big money, and it's done by design. Not by accident, design.
What was that museum, that place that we went to? You remember where they had the slave ship?
Oh, I wasn't there. I didn't go.
No? Damn, nobody. Well, when we went in there, Bishop Kanai asked the question to the lady at the front desk. She said, well, where is the Dutch part of the slave trade? And the woman said, that we don't have no such thing. Bishop had to look at her and say, what are you talking about? The Dutch were the biggest slave. They were the biggest part of the slave trade. What do you mean that there's nothing in here about the slavery? So the point is, the people over in that area, they know nothing pretty much. They keep them dumbed down on that. And they've really minuscule the artifacts and all of that. Exactly. You wasn't there, Captain? No?
He went with me.
All right.
Read that again.
Once upon a time in the 17th century, the Netherlands was the largest slaving nation in the world. But dealing with that past has become a dilemma. Like other former slaving nations, Netherlands as a country has found it difficult to apologize for slavery. But its Council of Churches thinks otherwise. In June this year, the church formally apologized for its role in slavery. Our correspondent, Femi Akomolaf, was in the country in July to cover the 150th anniversary of the abolition of slavery by the Dutch and sent us this report.
So that was one church. Just go down. I want to read the report of their stupid apology. Read this. See that section right there? That notwithstanding. Read that.
That notwithstanding, the 150th anniversary of the abolition of slavery was marked with ceremonial fanfare at the National Slavery Monument at the Ooster Park in the east of the commercial capital, Amsterdam. The Dutch King Alexander III and Queen Maxima were among the significant figures that graced the occasion. The Netherlands, one of the smallest countries in Northern Europe, was among the most enthusiastic of slave nations. But how to deal with this past is now a dilemma, as the historian J.W. Schulte Nordholt informs us in his seminal work, The People That Walk in Darkness. The Dutch share in the slave trade was large. In fact, in the 17th century, it was the largest. The Dutch West India Company had various settlements on the African coast, and millions of slaves were ferried from there, especially during the time of the Dutch occupation of Brazil. In 12 years, between 1637 and 1648, they transported no less than 23,163 slaves from Elmina and Luanda for an amount of 6,714,423 guilders and 60 cents. The Dutch were very precise. They bought slaves from the Congo for 40 to 50 guilders and sold them in Brazil for 200 to 800 guilders. Certainly a worthwhile business.
Now go down. Go up. Keep going. Let me look for something. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Taking their cue from pontiffs.
Taking their cue from the pontiffs, Christian theologians zealously published texts to justify the odious trade.
So they talk about you good Christians, good white Christians. Go ahead. Christians.
As a result, few slave ships sailed without Christian priests on hand to bless them.
You see that? Few slave ships sail without Christian priests on board. Go ahead. Right, majority of them had Christian priests on them. Go ahead.
Today, many Christians will feel discomforted by the fact that the first slave ship that actually took African slaves to the USA was named the Good Ship Jesus.
Good mad now. Go ahead.
Which was lent to the pirate John Hawkins by the British monarch Queen Elizabeth I.
Okay, go down. Come on. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, go X out of that one. X out. We don't need it anymore. Give me the next article about race and colonialism. Watch this. Go ahead, Captain Isaac.
Race, colonialism, and the Netherlands golden coach.
Y'all see that golden coach right there? It is plated with 24-karat gold. That is real gold all over that. And every year, they're going to say it in the article as we read down, the king and queen go to this area, I believe it's around September 1st, and you got thousands upon thousands. What is
it's in July 1st. July 1st.
Thousands upon thousands of our people from Suriname and Curacao go there waiting for an apology from the monarchy for slavery. Every year they're out there crying and weeping, waiting for the white man to say, I am sorry for slavery. You've got to be kidding me. Every year. Let's read the article now.
Dutch traditionalists see the golden coach as a cherished tradition. its critics see a relic of colonialist past.
I want to show you. Now, we got pictures of the actual coach.
Relic of a colonialist past.
Now, they want these people to apologize for slavery, but let's zoom in close at the coach, the 24-karat coach they're riding. And that gold came from the Congo. That's the coach right there. And it's drawn, if I'm not mistaken, by 12 horses. That's the coach. Now, give me the next picture with the close-up.
This is going to knock their socks off. And they want an apology, right?
You want an apology for slavery from somebody riding in a coach with slaves on it? Are you kidding me? You got slaves honoring the white woman and the white man.
You might need to zoom in a little bit more on that, because I know stigmatism and all kinds of things are happening in the eyesight right about now. So you got to get it close. Now they can see it now.
Do you see this? And the madness of our people wanting an apology, crying for an apology.
And this, they want to come up to the coach and get the apology while this is painted on it.
Right.
Is that a little girl there? It looked like she got a skirt, a blue
That's
skirt.
the little girl,
right,
yes.
man?
Yep, right there.
Okay.
Exactly.
Damn pedophile.
So let's go back to the article now.
So that's the coach that they ride, and that bottom part is the picture that you just looked at.
Exactly. Read that.
Every year since 1903, on the third Tuesday of September, the Golden Coach, Guden Koets, has carried the reigning monarchs of the House of Orange from a royal palace to the Dutch Parliament for a throne speech, an annual assessment of the state of the kingdom. Thousands of jubilant subjects gather to watch the horse-drawn carriage clatter along the leafy streets of The Hague to catch a glimpse of their beloved monarch. It is known as Prinsdag, the day of the little prince. Last September, the Golden Coach, drawn by a team of 8 horses and fitted with the full regalia of empire.
You got to imagine, picture this Golden Coach drawn by 8 horses. With all the spoofs on the horses, I don't know what it's called, the plumage and all of that. The music is playing. The slaves are cheering, waiting for an apology. And the devil comes out of the coach with images of slaves and says, "How you doing?" And that's all he says.
That's it.
And they go up and give their dumb speeches. Keep reading.
That's opulence there. 8 horses.
Last September, the Golden Coach, drawn by a team of 8 horses and fitted with the full regalia of empire, crests, murals, gold gilt curlicues, had a headlong collision with the 21st century. On September 5th, 2 weeks before the annual carriage ride, several dozen protesters gathered on Museum Square in Amsterdam to denounce the carriage itself. The Golden Coach, which dates to 1898, has on its left flank a triptych painted by the decorative artist Nicolas van der Wey, called Homage from the Colonies. The 2 outer panels show half-naked black men shouldering massive bales and satchels. The central image is of a statuesque woman seated on a throne with 2 black figures in supplication before her. One kneels in reverence, hands clasped and head bowed as if in prayer. The other prostrates himself, back bent, head lowered, with his right arm outstretched over clusters of bananas and other produce offered as homage to the allegorical queen. It is an appalling sight. When the king and queen ride around in such a coach, it glorifies this era. Harry Westerink, one of the protest organizers, said in an interview at the time. Westerink is a founder of the Grey Coach Grove Coats movement, which for more than a year has sought to banish the Golden Coach to a museum. Westerink says that the supposed Dutch Golden Age in the 17th century was in fact a gray area tainted by colonialism.
Gray era tainted by colonialism.
Westerink's scorching rhetoric is a part of an impassioned, sometimes violent confrontation between the country's traditional historical memory and its current population. An estimated 4 million citizens, More than 1 in 5 Dutch people now have ancestry outside the 12 provinces that constitute the Netherlands, whether in the former Dutch colonies of Indonesia, Suriname, and a number of Caribbean nations, or in countries such as Turkey and Morocco.
And we saw a lot of those nations over there. Go ahead.
Or in the Balkans, which have long been a source of guest workers. This demographic shift has been cause for growing social tensions and occasional violence. The fiercely racist politician Pim Fortuyn was assassinated by Volkert van der Graaf in 2002, a white Dutchman shooting another white Dutchman in defense of Dutch Muslims.
Oh, well. Now let's go up. Keep going up. Keep going. Let me see. Right here.
The first person to draw public attention to the Golden Coach's triptych was Beryl Beekman.
Stop. Highlight that, and I want you to go to Google. We're coming right back here. Beryl Beekman. She look familiar, Isaac?
Yes. That's a
We met her.
scene. Yep.
We met her at the radio station, and she said she's going to see if she can get us an audience with the king on that day. Oh, me, Bishop, can I said, whoa. Oh, I said, please, if Lord make it so, there's so much to say. How much time I got? You got how much time they said?
Like 10, 15 minutes.
10, oh, just give me 5. That's all I need. Just give me 5. But this sister, she's very, very smart sister. She was listening also to the radio show. She loved what she heard. And she's a big politician out there in Amsterdam. So let's go back to the article.
The first person to draw public attention to the Golden Coach's triptych was Beryl Beekman, the Suriname-born chairman of the National Platform for the History of Dutch Slavery, which seeks to address the country's unresolved colonial legacies. Beekman had previously helped drive a public campaign against Zwarte Piet, or Black Peter.
And when we were in Brussels, we saw there was a store in a square called Grand Plaza. There was in the window, a thing of Zwarte Piet and what's his name? Saint Nicholas?
Yeah, Saint
Santa Claus. Santa Claus. They go Santa Claus with Black Pete. Go ahead.
A black caricature who in Dutch tradition.
A black caricature.
Who in Dutch tradition is an assistant to Saint Nicholas.
Zwarte Piet or Black Pete represented the Dark Age Moors, which were the Israelites. Saint Nicholas or Santa Claus with Klaus represented the Renaissance era. The scholars know that. It's the average person that does not realize it. Go ahead.
During the Christmas season, Dutch revelers put on black face, red lipstick, and afro wigs as part of the holiday cheer. Beekman expressed concern over the Golden Coach just before Prinsdag in 2011, writing an opinion piece with 2 members of parliament for the NRC Handelsblad, a leading Dutch daily.
Do me a favor, give me Deuteronomy 28. We're almost done. See, give me Deuteronomy 28, 31 to 34. I just want to show you something. Back to the curses. Deuteronomy 28.
Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 31. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them.
Write this down. Did you read down to verse 34?
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no mine in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up. And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
I have a question. What is it called when you are forced to work in your land for free and another nation reaps the resources? What is that called? What? Colonialism. Exactly, colonialism. Write that down. Okay, that's what it's talking about. Give me Job 12, 3 to 6. The Dutch were demons, and they're still demons today. And they try to be nice over there, the Dutch do. But they see nothing wrong with making mockery of black people. There's nothing, to them, it's just funny. Read that, Job 12, 3 to 6.
Job chapter 12, verse 3 to 6. But I have understanding as well as you. I am not inferior to you.
And that's the standpoint of our people with Esau out there. They say, we're not inferior to you. We got understanding like you got. Go ahead.
Yea, who knoweth not such things as these? I am as one mocked of his neighbor.
Job said, I'm as one mocked of his neighbor. So just like they do with us, they mock us. Go ahead.
Who calleth upon God, and he answereth him. The just upright man is laughed to scorn.
See that? The just upright man is laughed to scorn. That's what Suerte Pete is about. That's what all of this about, the black caricatures and all of that. They laugh us to scorn. Was that it?
You wanted it to verse 6, Bishop?
Yeah, to verse 6.
Yeah, let me just interject something real quick. The point that the bishop is making about Suerte Pete, those of you who are unfamiliar with that terminology, we did a video, the bishop did a video in particular. It's called The History Behind Christmas. You can YouTube it and you get a full, complete understanding on what we just expounded here.
Exactly.
Y'all all right? All right, go ahead, Isaac.
Verse 5. He that is ready to slip with his feet is as a lamp despised in the thought of him that is at ease. The tabernacles of robbers prosper.
And tabernacles of robbers prosper. Because all that the Dutch did when they robbed the wealth, the rubber throughout the Congo, Belgium became one of the richest nations on earth, the Netherlands, because of the rape, robbery, and murdering they did during the time of colonialism, Dutch colonialism. Go ahead.
The tabernacles of robbers prosper, and they that provoke God are secure.
And they that provoke God are secure. That's the white man. They're the ones that provoke God, but they live life secure. Not a care in the world. Go ahead. Was that it? Verse 6 is what I'm going to go down to.
Into whose hand God bringeth abundantly.
Into whose hand God bringeth abundantly. Now, go back to the book. Go back to the book. Now, this is what they did in the Congo. Okay, now the Congo has been renamed the Democratic Republic of Congo. And this was, let's zoom in on some of these pictures. See, a lot of you don't realize, because like I said, we live in a bubble of censorship. Look, they cut the brother's nose off on the right. They cut all their hands off, including the woman's hands are cut off for not bringing back a substantial amount of rubber. Okay? Many times, like I said, the mindset is, no, they're not suffering the curses of Deuteronomy 28. They didn't go through what we went through. You don't know what you're talking about. Just shh, be quiet. Now notice, they had another brother from the Congo whip the hell out of the slave tied to the, see the wood? They had him tied down and then whoop the hell out of him butt naked. They did the same thing over here in America. Right, they use your own to do it. Now the etching, you see the white man whooping the slave right there. Okay, let's go over. Okay, can we read that right there, Isaac?
Yes, sir. In 1911, a Belgian historian described Leopold's system.
Meaning King Leopold.
Tax was not paid in money, but in work. In the rubber districts, in place of work, the tax was assessed at so many kilograms of rubber. If the stated quantity was not delivered to the treasury, there were several methods of enforcing compliance. Chiefs were detained as a punishment until their people furnished their quota of rubber.
So the chief of the tribe was detained. Go ahead.
Hostages were taken. Women and children imprisoned. The chikari, or rawhide lash, was used on those who had not brought into the post their prescribed amount of rubber. Sentinels were posted in centuries of population to supervise the work of the natives. Refractory villages received visits from military patrols. At times, punitive expeditions were sent to mete out exemplary punishment.
Weren't the hands cut off of our people on this side of the world? The Incas, the Mayans, when Columbus, and they cut their hands off too.
When they didn't bring the gold, when they didn't bring back enough gold.
Exactly.
Bishop, the man is missing his nose.
Yes.
What type of vile, disgusting, picture them grabbing your nose and cutting it off your face. They're sick, despicable, demonic people. Look at his nose. You just see one hole and no ears.
Her ears are gone.
Can you imagine a life like that? You walking around with your nose off your face and ears off because you didn't work hard enough for them?
A worker shows a pierced hand to the cameraman, while below another looks down at a severed hand and foot.
Right. Now, and there's another book I got that says they cut off the hands and feet of his daughter. Of his daughter. That's her hands and her feet. The father is sitting there watching, looking. These are photographs.
Right,
These are not
that's what you see.
drawings.
And this was because they didn't bring back enough rubber,
Exactly.
stuff like that.
Yes.
You know, I had an old film where they showed this. I'm talking about many years ago, where they showed about them extracting rubber from the rubber trees. And in addition to that, it was used for Firestone was a tire place. The rubber would go to Firestone and into the sneakers that you pay all kinds of big money for. And it cost these people less than pennies to make it. Just wanted to brought that in there. Go ahead.
To draw a comparison real quick, Bishop, the conquistadors, they did the same thing to Northern Kingdom on this side.
That's on the cover of the short account of the destruction in the Indies. They show you smashing up the little babies and butchering the woman.
Yep. Now, you just read something in Deuteronomy 28 where it said that thou shalt be mad. What verse was that? Was it 34? Read that, please.
Verse 34. Deuteronomy 28, verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight
Read the
of...
verse 33. Start there.
Verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
Do y'all think that the father is mad looking at his daughter's hands and feet?
And they're in their land.
They're in their land. Do y'all think he's mad? You better believe he's mad. I'm mad just looking. I wasn't even back then, but I'm furious when I look at these things. You know.
Maybe you got to paint the picture. If you have a garden in your backyard, the things that are growing is supposed to be for your family. A colonialist comes in and he says, no, I want you to grow your own stuff and give me the fruit of what you do. And if you don't give me enough, I'm cutting your hands off. I'm piercing this. I'm doing that.
Cutting your nose.
Cutting your nose off. Cutting your ears off. Because the plant that's in your backyard, you're not giving me enough of it to my satisfaction.
Exactly. Give me the next picture. You can X out of that. Let's read that.
Atrocity in the Congo. The Belgian Congo, present-day Zaire, owed its existence.
So now the name is Democratic Republic of Congo. That's the name of it today. Go ahead.
Owed its existence to the initiative of one man, Leopold II of Belgium.
That's the image. Go to the bottom picture. Yes, right there. That's the devil, right? That's the devil. There's the devil. And they got him portrayed as a snake in the etching. Go back up now to the wording so we can read on.
The Belgian Congo, present-day Zaire, owed its existence to the initiative of one man, Leopold II of Belgium. In 1876, Leopold, determined to engineer an African colony for himself and for his country, commissioned the explorer H.M. Stanley to sign treaties with the Congolese chiefs. By 1885, Leopold was recognized internationally as the head of the new Congo Free State. By hindsight, the title seems a bad joke. Heavily in debt, Leopold declared that vacant lands and their products were to be state property. The Congolese were forced to supply the chief commodity, rubber. The results were so horrific that in 1908, international opinion forced Leopold's retreat and the Congo's annexation by Belgium.
Okay, let's scroll over.
At work in the Congo, Africans under white supervision cut wood and gather rubber. Work that for several years led to apparently to few abuses. Only gradually did the system that shocked the international community evolve.
Okay, pull back. Go back to the original. So that's them getting rubber and things of that nature for Esau. Give me the next page. Do y'all see what both of them are holding in their hands? Up, so we can see the other guy. They're holding hands that were chopped off.
And you see the Edomite behind him, like they told him, pose for this picture, you niggas.
Right.
You can see it there. Look at the Edomite. Like, they're not doing that willingly. That's to invoke fear in everybody else.
Exactly. Read that, Captain Isaac.
Evidence of a Congolese, accompanied by a white investigator, display severed hands for the camera.
Okay, go up. Read that.
Sir Roger Casement, his report on the Congo confirmed the atrocities and unleashed an international campaign to have them ended.
Yeah, glorify the white man. Go up. Read that.
Around the turn of the century, articles began to appear criticizing Leopold's rule. In 1903, Britain's Aborigines Protection Society published Civilization in Congoland, a story of wrongdoing in the House of Commons, advised international action to abate the evils prevalent in that state. The government commissioned a report on the atrocities from the British Vice Consul in the Congo, Roger Casement, the Irish patriot who was hanged for treason during World War I. His report confirmed the abuses. In 1904, a shipping agent named A.D. Morel formed the Congo Reform Association.
Go to the side now so we can see the rest of the wording. Go to the side. Come on.
After publishing a book entitled Red Rubber.
Okay, I don't want that, Isaac. I'm sorry. Keep going. I want those little words right there. Zoom in. Can y'all see those words?
Yep.
Read that.
After the rule of the lash.
Now watch this.
British missionaries who sought to make good the crimes committed in the Congo hold a prayer meeting on the edge of the jungle.
You devils, you. Now pull out. Let's look at the little prayer meeting. They was forcing Christianity on them. Your hands are cut off and they're making you pray to the image of the beast. That's what you're looking at right there. Okay? They are the devil, the Bible. And they're trying to make you feel like, oh, we care about you. Yep. And got you worshiping the image of the beast. And then they were all in cahoots with all that stuff that was going on.
They're in unity. They're in unity against us.
That's why we read earlier. Remember it said there was very few slave ships that entered without a priest being on board. All these evil Christians were a part of the atrocities done to our people. All of them. Every last one of them. And I'm glad the Lord said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord.
You know,
the Lord said, and every one of them shall go into captivity.
Exactly.
They do try to glorify Edomites that they say they expose the atrocities and stuff.
Right,
to make
like
you feel like
abolitionists and all
there
that.
was sympathetic Edomites. Right. I'm going to hit y'all in the head with something today. You know the man that choked out Eric Garner? That chokehold, when they let him go free, they said, look, we're going to get him on the chokehold because it was illegal and it was banned back in 1994 from a guy named Eric Baez, I think his name, Anthony Baez.
Anthony Baez.
Okay? They said the police can no longer choke people out. Today they let that cop go after a long investigation. Okay? For something that was declared illegal from the police department, they got people to say, okay, he got free from choking him out, but we're going to charge him for an illegal chokehold. And today, they let that cop go with no charges. So don't go into none of that investigation stuff. They're going to protect their own. The only people that don't protect their own is black people. They're the only people on this earth that don't protect their own. They just put energy into fighting other black people. And that's why God said 2/3 of you have to die. Because a lot of you don't feel the same way that we're trying to get you to feel right now. You're still thinking when you leave here that the white man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Oh, Mr. Rogers.
Tarantula.
Give me Jeremiah 22:13. We're closing out. Jeremiah 22:13. Jeremiah 22:13. See, that's when you look at pictures like this and when you realize how they forced us to become today's modern Christians, it should really make you sick to your stomach. Imagine you cut my daughter's hands off. Now you're going to tell me to pray to Jesus, the white image. If I had hands, I'd kill you.
But you know what's wrong, Bishop? A lot of times we look at things in photographs. That's why we have to tell our people these are not drawings, even though the drawings be accurate.
Right.
But then we tell you, say, listen, these are actual photographs. You know the reason why we have to painstakingly say things like that? Because for the most part, most of us disassociate ourselves in reality with what we see. We still think that this is somehow off from us. We don't really recognize that it is us. We don't have that bridging understanding and take that on as what happened to us. We look at it as them.
The way they come to resolve in their hearts and mind about that is by telling you now that was in the past. You need to let it go. Look at what we have now. Okay, what we don't have now is because of that. From them interfering with our livelihood back then is why we're struggling now. And they'll never make it a fair playing field. Okay, that's why we need God. That's why we need the Most High.
In Amsterdam and in Amsterdam mainly, the city is beautiful. Rich, I mean, it's decked out. And when you think about the history on what brought all of that up, you realize that all of that is the result of slave labor.
The result of what we just saw.
What we just saw is slave labor. Everything that you see is a result of slave labor. But if you're unconscious and if you're trained to be unconscious, this won't have any effect on you.
Exactly.
That's a powerful statement because it's the same thing with Wall Street. Y'all go down there and you're amazed and you're looking at the Twin Towers and you're all excited. That's slave burial grounds there. That financial district, that Wall Street, that all of y'all go down there begging for jobs, and a white man take your resume and throw it in the garbage, it's built just on what Deacon Yawasab said, on the blood of our ancestors.
Exactly. Read Jeremiah 22:13.
Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness.
So Belgium was built by unrighteousness. Amsterdam, Brussels, the United States of America, Europe and her allies. Go ahead.
And his chambers by wrong.
And his chambers by wrong.
That useth his neighbor's service.
Who uses his neighbor's service.
Without wages.
Did we get paid, brothers? Without wages. Go ahead.
And giveth him not for his work.
And giveth him not for his work. So now, in this article here, I did it and many other people blasted Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton about reparations, saying give them jobs. It says, King, if President Obama is against reparations, blasting Bernie Sanders for the same stance is insincere. And that is correct. Let's go down. Let's look at what it said. Read that, Captain Isaac.
The idea of reparations only seems to be politically incorrect when spoken of for African Americans. It's widely accepted that reparations were right for Jews affected by the Holocaust.
A 5-year war. So-called Jewish people got reparations for what they suffered for 5 years. Go ahead.
It's widely accepted that reparations were right for Asian Americans.
The Japanese got reparations for what they suffered for 5 years.
Who were horrendously interned in camps during World War II. Yet, when a formal system of reparations for the systematic injustices that African Americans endured not only during slavery, but also throughout the 150 years that have followed.
Read that again. I'm sorry, Bishop. Read that part again where it says yet for what?
Yet, when a formal system of reparations.
Y'all got to hear a formal system of reparations for the what?
For the systemic injustices.
Systemic injustices.
That
means there's many systems.
Like that tree.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That eugenics tree.
Right.
The various systems out here that's used to destroy us. Mm-hmm. That did not happen with the other groups.
Right.
They did not have a whole economy with all factions of its society against them.
Exactly.
Y'all see the difference?
Read again.
Yet, when a formal system of reparations for the systemic injustices that African Americans have endured not only during slavery, but also throughout the 150 years that have followed, is mentioned, politicians almost universally cringe and say it's a bad idea that isn't worth pursuing.
You see that? Politicians cringe when you mention reparations to the descendants of the slaves. It makes their stomach turn.
Bishop, they said 150 years later.
Yes.
And the whole system is perfected against us.
Exactly.
And you're telling me that you can justify reparations for 5 years for this group, 5 years for that group, but 150 years of systemic systems, systemic injustices against the whole entire race. And you mean to tell me we don't deserve anything?
Nothing.
Deacon, I just picked up on the sentence you put emphasis on. The reason why they say that is systemic is that what they're letting you know is that this was well thought out. The stuff with the Holocaust was just war between white people fighting, and they were casualties of war. They didn't sit down and say, we're going to do this to them, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do that. That was just the outcome on them getting into an argument and fighting. Systemic means that they sat down and said, you see them niggas right there? We're going to destroy the very existence of them for years to come. That's why he put systemic.
Yep, a system, a program was set up to destroy us. Right. Read on.
8 years ago,
Listen good to this.
8 years ago, presidential candidate Barack Obama, having already opposed reparations many times.
Read it again.
8 years ago, presidential candidate Barack Obama, having already opposed reparations many times,
Go ahead.
emphatically closed the book on the idea and said, in no uncertain terms, I have said in the past, and I'll repeat it again, that the best reparations we can provide are good schools in the inner city and jobs for people who are unemployed.
Do y'all hear this? So you can't get on Bernie Sanders. You can't get on Hillary. They picked the perfect puppet to sit in office when they got Barack Hussein Obama. Now, I'll say this, before he became a candidate, his intentions may have been good. But once you sit in that seat and there's a shadow government of people behind you,
That's right.
letting you go. I want y'all to see the show. This is how I know what happened. The End of Poverty. Remember the guy said, if you don't accept America's policies, that foreign aid, they will send the jackal
There you go.
to take care of you. You got to read between the lines what that means. See, brothers, y'all might think you hood. You might think you some real gangsters. No.
White people.
America is the real gangster. The white man is the real gangster. They'll take you out with a smile on their face and do it in such a way it look like you died by
Natural
causes.
Natural causes.
That's how they'll take you out. Barack Obama, imagine he sits down and says, "No, you're not going to accept that and if you do, not only are we going to kill you, your wife." And your lovely daughters, too. You got to think about things that are said behind the scenes. And it may never be said so plain like that.
Like he said in the record, like he said on the tape.
Right.
He said because there might be a tape recorder recording it.
They don't say it plain.
They don't say it.
This is how they say it. Oh, these lovely pictures of your daughter. What school does she go to? PS 103?
Right.
Oh, is that not your mother-in-law right there? I heard she's taking a trip to such and such. Then you start thinking, damn, they got all this information on my family.
Yep.
I'm going to say whatever they want.
Exactly. That's what happens. That's what
Okay?
happens.
Yeah, and then read the last statement we was reading about Obama, what he said he would do.
All right. I have said in the past, and I'll repeat again, that the best reparations we can provide are good schools in the inner city and jobs for people who are unemployed.
But Obama didn't even do that. Yeah, you see what I'm saying to you? He didn't even do that.
You know why he said that? Because when he sat down in the White House and sat in that chair, he felt the electricity come up his backside. That's what happened. He felt that electricity. That if you get up here and if you say the wrong thing, you will be wiped out. And they didn't have to tell him that. He felt that the minute he sat down in that chair up there.
Yeah, his wife was one of either in Oprah or one of those channel. Then there was asking his wife. They said, would you ever consider to become the president of the United States? She said, I'm saying it once. I'm never going to say it again. Not I will never. The way that person's sound behind the camera, you know that she knows something she cannot reveal. She said, I will never. Not now. Don't wait for me to give you an answer. 10 years from now, I will never. That's what she said.
Yep. Exactly. Read that part where it says, in fact,
not a single presidential candidate.
In fact, not a single presidential candidate
or any nationally known politician currently advocates reparations for African Americans.
Y'all see that? There's not one. That's why, give me Isaiah 42:22. This is what this means. They picked the perfect puppets to be in office. Your intention might be to do good, but you can't.
And by them putting Obama up there, and by him saying this, You can't ask white folks for
Exactly.
nothing.
What can you complain to white people
Listen,
about if you didn't get it from a black president?
That's why they gave you Obama, to shut you up.
Exactly.
Stop asking us. We're going to put your own up there, and you bet. And when you ask him, he's going to tell you no. So when he's out of office, you got nothing else to say to us.
Exactly.
Right, because anytime we complain, what they say we gave you Obama.
Yep.
You all ever hear they say that? They say we gave you Obama. You know.
Read that.
Isaiah 42 verse 22.
Listen good.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
We are a people robbed and spoiled.
They are all of them snared in holes.
We are all snared in holes called religion and politics and all various types. Go ahead.
And they are hid in prison houses.
America's a prison house, okay? The lands of our captivity are prison houses. Go ahead.
They are for a prey,
We are for a prey,
and none delivereth.
and none delivers us.
For a spoil,
We are for a spoil.
and none saith restore.
You see that? None saith reparations. That's what it means when it says none saith restore to them what was taken. Nobody says that, okay? That's why we got to thank the Lord that there is a God. We got to thank the Lord for that thing. Last scripture, Isaiah 60. We're going to read 12 to 18. We'll close out with that. I love this because it makes my teeth whiter and whiter and whiter.
Isaiah 60 and what
12.
Verse 12. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Oh, my teeth is getting white already. Oh, yeah. See, this gives me joy. Because when I read the newspapers and what's happening today, like about slavery in Libya currently, it infuriates me. When I read about what happened in the early 1900s with the Congo, it infuriates me. When I saw what happened in the park in Brussels, it infuriates me. The only thing that gives me comfort and solace, which should be the same with you, are these scriptures. That's why I ain't got time to be depressed. I know what the final outcome is. Read it again.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Read.
The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together to beautify the place of my sanctuary.
So the nations are going to be forced to bring the cedar tree and the pine trees to build the sanctuary of God. Go ahead.
And I will make the place of my feet glorious.
That's Jerusalem. Go ahead.
The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee.
Notice it says the sons of them. The reason you want to stress that, because you know what the white folks say today? It wasn't me. It was my forefathers. No. So that's why the Bible got you covered. Bring their children. Bring their children here. Read that again.
The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. And all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet.
Ooh, y'all see that? And all they that despise. Remember Christ in Luke 1:71? It said to save them, what? To save them from their enemies.
And from the hand of all that hate
And
us.
from the hand of all that hate them. That's what it means. And all they that despise thee. That's what it's saying.
You see that part where it says, and they shall come bending unto thee? That means that's against the law to look up.
There you go. Don't look us in the eye either. Come on.
And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Because that's who we are. We ain't black no more. Go ahead.
Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated.
All nations forsook us, and everybody hates our guts. Go ahead.
So that no man went through thee.
Nobody wants to help us.
I will make thee an external excellency.
I will make thee an eternal
excellency.
Go ahead.
A joy of many generations.
We're going to be the joy of the earth. Go ahead.
Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles.
Meaning all the wealth, we're going to take it. Go ahead.
And shalt suck the breasts of kings.
Everything the kings got, we're going to take it.
And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob.
Come on.
For brass I will bring gold.
So the little brass we got, God said, I'm going to give you gold for that thing right there. Go ahead.
And for iron I will bring silver.
And for iron, I'm going to give you silver. Go ahead.
And for wood, brass.
And for wood, brass.
And for stones, iron.
And for stones, iron.
I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness.
You know what an exactor is? Tax collectors. We are going to tax all the nations. We're going to be the new IRS in the earth. Go ahead.
Violence shall no more be heard in thy land.
You want to end black on black crime and all the wars in the earth? God says, let Israel return. Violence shall be no more heard in thy land. Go ahead.
Wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise.
So, we can close out on that note. I give all praises to the Most High. All praises.
Now that's the gospel.
That's the gospel. Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.